Welcome to Muslim Apologetics Australia. So this is going to be a video to inspire the Islamic resistance and the Islamic countries against Western tyranny and oppression and dominance. So I'm pretty sure as a Muslim, you have been fixated about Muslims need to be technologically advanced. They need to be technologically superior in order to resist against Western aggression. And we've been so fixated, and don't get me wrong, I've made the same mistake as you. But once you mature in your thought process, you actually consider, hey, the future is bright. It's not so dark as you once thought. Think about this. And the way I actually thought about this is looking at the modern warfare, seeing the possibilities and the scenarios and working out the strengths and the weaknesses and pondering about that and looking at the advancements and how battles are won. And when you actually look at it from a strategic point of view, we can understand why the West fears Iran developing a nuclear warhead. Because a nuclear warhead ultimately dictates how far an opposition is going to be prepared to bully you. And if you don't have a nuclear warhead, a nuclear capability, then you are going to be bullied. You're going to be oppressed. And the reason why Israel indiscriminately bombs and executes Palestinians is because Gazans and Palestinians, not only do they not have a military capability to fight back, they don't have any nuclear warheads. I mean, these guys don't even have a military base, as in an airport, a navy, nothing, all right? Most of their bases are underground and they're just imported weapons, ground weapons, nothing sophisticated, right? So it's easy to kill and bully them and allow the world to watch and do nothing, because even the surrounding neighbors don't have these capabilities to defend the Palestinians. Iran has got ballistic missiles that it fires. But besides that, Pakistan is the only Muslim country that has a nuclear warhead. But we know that their regime are controlled by Zionist puppets who do not threaten Israel. And that's why Israel pretty much says everything else is on the table. At some point, people are now even disputing whether even Pakistan even has a nuclear warhead, right? So, and I agree with the speculation that, hey, maybe it was just a claim to frighten India to back off. Maybe they don't actually have one. Because if they did, then Israel would think twice about massacring Palestinians. But this is a point I want to make. We are so fixated on technology. Yes, technology is very important. And we look at the F35, for example. It's almost undetectable. I'm not saying it's not detectable. It is almost undetectable by radar. It goes in and blows up a lot of the military facilities in Iran, and we see the damage it causes. The S-300, the S-400, the S-500. Iran doesn't have an S-400 or 500, and even if it did, we don't even know if it can measure up against it. So basically, it's like a free day to bomb Iran at will. And what Iran can do is hide its rockets in the mountains and then retaliate by firing ballistic missiles. But I want to address this point. We're always saying we need to build an F-35. We need to dominate the skies. We need to do this. No, you don't. And I'm gonna prove to you why. Does Russia have an F-35? No. It doesn't have anything like an F-35. What does Russia have? It has nuclear warheads. Okay? Why doesn't America attack Russia? Because it's got nuclear warheads. It doesn't have F-35s. So America is spending billions, forget billions, trillions of dollars in defense, in these sophisticated weapons like the F-35. But they are completely useless to go up against a superpower like Russia. Completely useless. Right? Because if it was useful, then I'll tell you right now, Trump would have ended the Russian and Ukrainian war long ago. But it does not dare to attack Russia. So, and this is why the American regime and the Israeli regime have attacked Iran, because they understand that the ultimate weapon that can ultimately shape up against the United States and Israel is a nuclear warhead. And this is why they're stopping Iran from developing one. Because Israel wants to be the dominator. The Americans want to be the dominator in the region. Right? They want to control, they're looking at the Greater Israel Project, the Abrahamic Accords to extend Israel to be the new superpower of the world, of the Middle East. And when you control the Middle East, you control all the oil and all the resources there. And they want it for the Greater Israel Project, because otherwise, how are they going to continuously sustain an empire? You need the resources to sustain such an empire. And so, in order to be the bully in the neighborhood, you need to remove any threat, right? And so this is why they're saying Iran is a threat, because they're looking at developing this. Because just like they can't bully Russia, then, they don't want to get to a stage where they, can no longer bully Iran. And this is why they are trying to stop Iran from developing this, okay? So here is the question you need to ask yourself. Would you rather want to invest trillions of dollars, billions of dollars in technology, in development, to try and create something like an F-35? Or would you try and create a nuclear warhead in order to protect your own sovereignty? The question is, yes, forget about F-35s, forget about all these other technological advancements. It is the direction of nuclear warheads. There is a reason why America did not wish to engage with North Korea, because they've got nuclear weapons, okay? So it's like, America came out, beat its chest. Oh, we're going to destroy North Korea. We're going to destroy Kim Jong-un. And, he's just the midget man and blah, 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 and all this blah, blah, blah. And then what happened? It just ended. Because there's no natural resources there. America did not want to entertain that argument and confrontation anymore. And they just, when North Korea started doing some tests, he was a good guy. Yeah, he's one of us. It's all good. Not a problem. He's all right. He's not bad. Okay, and then they went to concentrate on Iran. Why they concentrate on Iran? Because they can bully Iran. Iran doesn't have a nuclear warhead. It's very simple. Okay, so, and this is what they fear. So basically what I'm trying to illustrate is this. I'm trying to tell you that stop fixating yourself in trying to say, we want to develop something like the F-35. We need these supersonic jets. You can have all the jets in the world. You can have all the amazing military IQ and intelligence and FBI and Mossad, intrinsic intelligence, right? You can have the most sophisticated weapons, iron domes, whatever it is, right? You cannot shape up against another nuclear power. It's very simple. Ask yourself this question. Has America and Israel ever attacked another nuclear power country? No. Have they tried attacking France? Have they tried attacking North Korea? Have they tried attacking Russia? No. So instead what they're doing is, behind closed doors, they're just funding Ukraine weapons to just resist Russian aggression. That's it. Okay? And this is what I've been saying. It's all going to come down back to the battlefield. So if Iran has nuclear capability and America has nuclear and Israel has nuclear capability, which they do, then if they choose to go to war, and if they try and go to war, and if one side is getting defeated, then the other side is going to push the nuclear button. And it could actually turn into a nuclear war. To prevent that from happening, then America is not going to engage in that. And so what they'll do is, the next strategic points they'll try and send sanctions and try and hurt them economically. This is the trajectory of where it's going to end up when we look at world wars and world conflicts. So a nuclear warhead is actually a preventative mechanism to protect and make the world peaceful. You know, it is scary to have, nuclear warheads, but think about this for a moment. If we didn't have these, think about if Pakistan never had a nuclear warhead. Pakistan would have been invaded long ago by India. The Hindutva, the escalation and the war that took place not long ago, last year, mid last year. India would have invaded Pakistan long ago. Okay? There'd be no Pakistan anymore. Okay? So there's a reason why they wanted peace. There's a reason why they called for a de-escalation. When Pakistani jets started flying and bombing back, and then, there was this rhetoric and back and forth, and then they understood, hey man, this is getting messy, and then they called for America. The Indians called for America, and they said, you need to help us in this. We need to negotiate peace terms, and it was done, and there's peace. Right? Not many people died in the conflict, right? There was casualties, yes, but not many people died. And that is the point that I'm trying to make. So this is what they fear. They fear Iran developing a nuclear warhead because it would help the region where it will stop the aggression of Israel bullying the Palestinians. Because Iran would just basically make a threat: do not touch a single Palestinian, and if you hurt them, we will have a ballistic missile with a nuclear warhead sitting on it. Okay? Yeah. And Sajid, it will be the dancing missile too, the one that can, get through your Iron Dome. So, yeah. This is something that we need to keep in mind, and we need to understand and rationalize and understand. When we look at even prophetic teachings, yes, there will be a Armageddon, there will be an apocalyptic war, there will be prophetic wars between the Dajjal and world wars where many people will die on both sides. And I think this is going to be during the end times, where Imam Mahdi will come, and there will be many wars, and there will be Western civilization, a part of the West that will actually join the Muslims. People say it could be Russia, right? But I think in this battle, it's going to be a fair battle where they'll actually fight without any nuclear warheads, but both sides will have backings from jets and Western jets. the Western jets will actually go against other Western jets. So who knows, maybe we'll have some developments happen from Russian forces. But the ultimate point is I don't believe it will go to a nuclear war, because that would just completely destroy the Earth. Will an F-35 be useful in those wars? Absolutely. But if it gets to a stage where the F-35 is dominating, then those countries will trigger a nuclear warhead. So they'll probably threaten them and they'll say, yeah, you can fight us, but don't bring your F-35s, because if you bring your F-35, then we're going to trigger a nuclear warhead. Okay? So if you want a fair war, then put away your F-35s and fight us fairly on the battlefield. But if you want to pick your F-35s that aren't getting picked up by our satellites, that's an unfair disadvantage for us. And we're not at that technological advancements, but what we do have is a nuclear warhead. So put away your F-35s, or else we've got a nuclear warhead pointing at you. So this will basically give leverage, right? So don't get too fixated in F-35. All right, too many people are fixated on F-35. The Russians are laughing at the F-35. They're saying, "Come on, bring your F-35. We've got nuclear warheads pointing at you." Okay. So, yeah, that's where the focus should be. The focus should be in Indonesia developing a nuclear warhead. South Korea developing one if they don't have one. If Hungary wants to get a nuclear warhead, they should be developing one. If Greece wants to have a nuclear warhead, the Hellenics, the Greek Empire, if they want to have one, they should go and get one too. Create one for yourself. If Turkey wants one, they should get one. Not one delivered to them by UN under their own codes. No, they should all have one, right? This will prevent these bullies dictating terms. I hope that is some refreshing insight into modern warfare. Thank you.